How's it going? Matt McNeil coming to you from the garage. It's been a minute since I've made a video. So I figured I would just talk really quick about this guy. I started him, I guess, maybe 3 days ago. I spent maybe 3 or 4 nights when I got home from work working on him. It's coming together. It's not quite the likeness. Everybody thinks it looks like either Tom Hanks or Walter White, and I can see that. But there are a couple of angles that are starting to come together. I will say that there's, certainly some things that I would have done differently now that I've started him. Hindsight's always 20/20. I would have taken Marshall Bean's advice, and rather than using an Alana head for this in particular, because this isn't really a mask, it's more of a sculpture, I would have made my own armature, because the head that is in the movie has a little bit of a offset to it. His head is tilted, and I'm trying to accomplish that by raising this shoulder, lowering this shoulder, and sculpting all the sort of neck wrinkles and stuff that are going on there. But it's still going to be tough to achieve that feel of his head being tilted sideways, because I don't want to dig too far down into this clay, because this is where my seam line is going to be. So there's that. The other challenge that I've got on this guy is, because he's got a mustache and all of that stuff, using the same color clay makes him look a lot older than he does perhaps maybe in person or on video. And because of the position of his head, the wrinkles and sort of that kind of stuff, it also makes him look a little chubbier than the actual actor. Which brings me to the interesting part is I'm kind of sculpting the prop and not the actor, but all the references are of the actor, and there's very few of that prop head that they used to blow up. So anyway, I've sort of worked myself into a conundrum here in regard to sculpting this guy. But I think I'll finally get it. He'll land probably more likeness-wise to the actor, I think, but with the expression of the prop, if that makes sense. I kind of did this once before. If you've ever tried to sculpt an Annabelle, be careful, because there are I think every movie they change the doll or something. So the references, while they look very similar, are all completely different. So that's sort of the thing that's going on here. But the glasses helped. The glasses came in. I was very excited about that. And I ordered a fake mustache today, because this same color clay makes him feel a lot older. That's what I was headed with the color of the clay earlier. The color of this clay makes, if that mustache were black and he had the fringe hair, it might pull the likeness a little further out. Still not quite right. I think I've got something to do in this area. I still need to bulk out the forehead. That's why I redid all this. The wrinkles right now are temporary. I just, again, like the mustache, sometimes you have to do things like put these glasses on him or whatever, just to check your likeness if your references are super specific, and in this case they are. Yeah, he's coming together. The other thing too is I'll 3D print the teeth. I didn't feel that I needed to put them inside this actual sculpt because of the nature of this. So it's not like something that needs to fit very specifically. I think that once this thing is cast or whatever, I'll be able to work some teeth in there, I think. So there you go. He's coming together slowly but surely. Scanner's guy. Oh, the other interesting thing that I found out is he actually does not have a name in the movie. They call him First Scanner. So I thought that was sort of sad that this doctor or this First Scanner dude didn't have a name in the movie. But there he is. So now he's got a bust of him that's, well, in progress. Now, the other thing that I wanted to talk about is I am sculpting the top of this head right now, but ultimately my vision for this thing is that the top of his head will be open, as if you have taken a picture of the moment that his head started to explode, right? So I'm going to peel all of this off of this armature and have it kind of mushroom out in all directions. If you watch the movie, that scene, the back of the head actually, it peels up way back and flips forward. I don't know how far back I'll go with that, just because it might look weird. It looks great in the movie, but I think that sort of the artistic license and liberty to be taken here is going to be on how that is sort of peeled up. But I think, it'll also be very difficult to cast if I, have a very thin layer of clay kind of bananaing out over this. So it's going to be an interesting sort of build. I have not figured all that out yet, but I will. And so it should be interesting on this front. Now, so you have to ask, well, what else are you going to do? You're going to do the skin, but how are you going to do this splat? Well, I figure what I would do, I'll show you this. This is sort of falling apart, but this was my proof of concept for this guy. I 3D printed this sort of liquid splat. Let's see if I can fit this thing back in here in some way, some fashion here. Doesn't have to be perfect, just to give you the idea. Hold on. So the idea is going to be something like that, right? So what you'll have is this guy with the top half of his head with this sort of like crown of frozen in time blood. Now, the blood that I used here, this was white resin that I spray painted red and put a little bit of permablood on. Not bad, but one of the things that they do make for 3D resin printers and filament printers is this red transparent resin. So that's already looking awesome and kind of blood-like. So I'm getting ready to reprint one of those, but with this red resin, just to sort of see how that looks. And I spoke with Tim Currents today over at Four Seal Studios, and talked to him about the potential of, he's a better 3D modeler than I am, and certainly understands 3D printer stuff, definitely better than I do. So one of the things I talked to him about today was maybe working with him to create that sort of resin splash and have him give me the model, whether it's in whole or in parts, depending on which kind of printer that I'm using. This one has a pretty good size printer bed, but it's not probably big enough to do exactly what I need unless I print it in parts. So if I resin print it on this, then I'm gonna have to do it in pieces. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to buy a bigger resin printer. And this one's already pretty monstrous. Anyway, we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But so that's what's going on with these guys, for anybody that was kind of wondering who this was and why I was doing it. But if you look at it right there, I can start to see my guy, right? You put a suit and tie on this guy and a little badge with his non-name, because he has no name, and that sort of splash coming out the top, literally top half of his head just opened up. I think it's going to be cool. I may be the only one who wants one of these, so this may be a one of one, unless once I get this thing sort of figured out, anybody else wants one. So anyway, we'll see. It's probably going to be a mammoth amount of work, but hopefully I figure out how to do it so that I can reproduce at least a few of these, and get this guy going. Anyway, it's been a while. I just figured I would post a video and explain what this guy is all about. But he's coming together, and I'm getting ready to push play on this resin print here. Here, let's do it. I really should put the lid back on here, but I wanted to show you the resin. So, as you can see, it's very slowly lowering down. I'll spare you the time that it takes, but not only that, but I got to put the lid back on it to keep the UV light out. But here we go. Cross your fingers, and this is just going to be a fun experiment, and hopefully this guy turns out to be something. We'll see. Talk to you soon. Have a nice weekend.